Back here with Happy Chappy, and today we're going to talk about family, parents, and what is the point? Obviously, parents create the child, but what is the point that we have the parents that we have? Why was it them? So, Happy Chappy's view, and as I've seen in growing up in my own life and then others around me, just people that has children and their lifestyle, and then how the children pick up the same kind of lifestyle generally. Uh, so there becomes a pattern. Uh, it's like a push-pull pattern, and parents, I find, try to push the children into what they couldn't achieve. So it's like they're pushing them, but they're pulling them towards what their beliefs was. And for example, you might see a parent as a doctor, where the child will become a doctor, so on and so on. Or similar areas. Not always, not always, but a lot of the time. I've seen it anyway. And I'd say it's probably a 50-50. Because I see there's gonna be a certain percentage, and I'm gonna just balance it out 50-50, that's going to overcome the parents and the point of the parents in them being who they are. So my experience is that, and the way I look at it is that the parents are there for a challenge. They are your opposition in life, even though they're there to look after you, bring up and care for you, and as what parents do, they're your opposition. For you to view them, their way of living life, and see where they came from and where they got to, analysing all that. And as you see them, as you're growing, you see why they are in the positions that they're in. And you will take them on. And it's that time that you have to reflect on yourself and start realizing, oh, I'm being just like them. And this was my teaching, for me to notice that that's not what I want to be. I understand who they are, but it's not who I want to be. I want to be me. I want to be the opposite of all that, which comes to how I see it in our parents and why we are chosen to have the parents that we have, is to reflect on who they are and see that what we are meant to be is the opposite of what they are. So, my example, uh, not running my dad or anything, he was a drinker, let's say alcoholic. So, my view would be not to drink at all. That doesn't say that I haven't drank, but I've got myself in states that were ridiculous. And when I look back at it from a clean mind, I can look at it as in like, well, there was really no point in that at all whatsoever. It had no benefit to me. It was a moment in time, the devil of man. And that's just one example. I could go on my mum now and speak of her doing things. But I don't want to be talking about my parents as if they were in a bad view, because I still respect them. They were there at the end of the day. I wouldn't be here only for them. They still looked after me. So it was just their ways. Their ways was their way. And they had to go through their experience of life that brought them through to where they were at. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just makes them and who they are. And they had to be who they were, as everyone is. But sometimes we have to alert ourselves and stop cooperating with the world outside of us, or cooperating with the teachings that we've learned from the past, from our parents and our siblings, but mainly our parents. And when I looked at myself, it was like, well, I have to reflect on that. And as I reflect, I have to reflect on who I am, because it can't be the same person. I can't be like 50% my mum, 50% my dad if I don't agree with their ways. Because they're not fulfilling for me. And when I look at it, it's always the opposite. And then that got me thinking to, excuse me, what I've seen in growing up in life. And you'll see some parent being a footballer, the child will want to be a footballer, so on, whatever career they're in. There's a lot of following in the footsteps of the parents, looked at as idols, gods. But they're not. You see, that's where we get caught up on the physical side of life, and we start thinking like there's no one like our parents. Our parents are awesome. We'll look up to them. Normally we'll pick one or two of them. Like me, for example, I looked at my mom and thought, oh, she'll always be there for me. But she wasn't. That was just a belief that I was trying to program into myself. But it wasn't the truth. So it's what's happening in here, not out here. Out here is just an illusion. And normally what you see out here is the opposite of what you've got to be in here. And then you can start creating what you want out here by focusing on what's in here. And in here, you have to feel it. It's one thing to think about it, but to feel it's another thing. And that's what happens. We get caught up in our feelings that is created in the past of our upbringing from our parents, because they are the ones that has been there, that has been the ones that we turn to as a child. And so we feel that in a certain way that they're the ones that's going to be always there, but they're not. They're going to be there for themselves. and guide you to where they want you to go. And you're going to be their support as much as they were your support, because you're going to be supporting what they wanted, not really living the life in who you are, being free in who you are. Anyway, this is just Happy Chappy Show. I just feel it's a place that we need to look at things. Are we doing things for ourselves? Or are we doing things because it's been bred into us? Because that's the teachings we've picked up. We need to be this way because it's a say so. But what if that say so is not something that's good? Not good for you, not good for anyone else? Then it's time to make a stand for who you are and do what's right. Do what's right for you. Just because someone's your parent, it doesn't give them the right to control you. And vice versa. Because you give back to them, but you don't have to follow your parents' ways and become them, because what will happen is you'll become the controlling one, because they controlled you so long and you picked up all their ways. You will start being that, and being that one that's in control or wanting to be in control, pushing your ways onto your children, and then pushing their ways onto their children and their children, and so on and so on. And the cycle goes on until you step into yourself and feel what's true in here and be you. Not because of what's been in here from the feelings of the past and how you think about them and what you should do, to feel in what is right to do and what makes you happy, not what makes somebody else happy, because that will leave you unhappy. And this is Happy Chappy. Love and peace.